European history about trading slaves is still romanticized. I was born in the Netherlands and I've never grown up with the fact that we did very bad things back in the days. We always saw Dutch pirates as heroes instead of murderers and slave traders. Instead of teaching the small children about our black history, we prefer to teach our children the black history of other countries. Also, another fact about these slave huts is the internet gave me a hard time to find out how many slaves were sleeping inside of these huts. How come? These huts were built in 1850. That's not a long time ago. Is it just because it's not that important to know how many slaves were sleeping inside of this house? Or is it just because we want to erase parts of our history so that no one would know how bad we actually were back in the days? And because of the lack of education, there are some very disturbing things going on. Look at this. Chris, Elisa, you have Jairon, you have Kent, you have Nelson, you have Wijntje, you have Carol, and there is some D who is loving you. And look at this house. This one is totally vandalized. R.O. Sleutel was here, Denise, Tommy. Look at this. Look what they do here. Can you imagine people writing on the walls in Auschwitz, in the German concentration camps, where many Jews were killed? Why do we have more respect for historical sites like Auschwitz than historical sites like these about slavery? That's all because of education. Education starts at school. And if you haven't learned anything at school, there are some signs like these that will teach you something. And it says, slave huts. These huts were constructed in 1850 during the slave time and served as camping facilities for slaves working in the salt ponds to collect and ship the salt, one of Bonaire's most important export products. These huts were used as sleeping quarters and place to put away personal belongings of the working teams. Wow, working teams! So wow, what did we learn here? We've learned that the word slave is almost the same as a working team, a hard-working team for one of Bonaire's most important export products. So now we have some background information about these slave huts. But how many people do want to know how many slaves were sleeping inside those slave huts? I think everybody wants to know that. But even that sign isn't telling you that. Why is that? Do you think the lack of information is done on purpose? These are called the yellow slave huts, aka the red slaves. But the pirates were a little bit drunk, so they mixed up the colors. Imagine that 2 until 12 people were sleeping inside of this house.